Welcome back. The race for governor growing. Congressman Tom Tiffany says he'll decide by the end of the month whether to join the Republican field alongside businessman Bill Berrien and Washington County Executive Josh Schoemann, who we caught up with on the campaign trail Thursday in Cottage Grove.
So you're Josh, huh?
How'd you know?
All summer, Washington County Executive Josh Schoemann has showed up in front yards like this.
We ask for your Holy Spirit to be upon the family.
This night in Cottage Grove, the shooting and killing of Charlie Kirk still top of mind.
As governor, you would be overseeing what probably is the most equally divided state in the country, or pretty close to it. I mean, how do you do that when people now are literally shooting at each other for disagreements over political views?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, but I think we've spent too much time in America and too much time in Wisconsin talking past each other, throwing social media bombs back and forth, not sitting down and talking to one another. I mean, even in this last state budget, the sitting Democrat governor doesn't invite the sitting assembly minority leader in his party to the table to talk about budgets. Like, how did we get here? There has to be a conversation. I think there's more to this day that unifies us than that divides us. We let the little things divide us to the point where people are shooting each other. You got to talk to people where they're at. I mean, here we are in Dane County. Well, who expects a conservative to go to Dane County and try to just talk to people about where they're at? What's your station in life? What is it that you need? But that's the kind of campaign we're going to run.
Schoemann, the first candidate to enter the governor's race back in May, needing to secure name ID and money from across the state.
Let's talk about the primary leading to the general. Republicans statewide have had some challenges if your name isn't Donald Trump or Ron Johnson winning statewide on the ballot recently. What makes you the guy to potentially do that?
Well, in the last 10, 12 years, right?
Yeah.
That has been the case. But again, if you look at Wisconsin state history, young, energetic, folks who are willing to work their tail off. I've been to 72 counties in 127 days. That's about a county and a half a day. I mean, we are moving. I think that's the kind of candidacy that people want. In my lifetime, we've only ever elected 2 Republican governors, Scott and Tommy. They fit that bill. We've tried millionaires. We've tried congressmen. No congressman has won the race for governor in Wisconsin since 1930. The millionaire thing hasn't worked for us lately. Let's go with what works. And the template that I bring as county executive with real executive experience, the conservative record in Washington County, and somebody who's going to work tirelessly. I tell people all the time, when candidates come and make a pitch to you, tell them, Schoemann made it around the state in 72 counties, 127 days. You keep up with that?
What does Tom Tiffany do to this race if he enters to this primary?
Listen, Tom's a great congressman. He's been a wonderful legislator for 20 years, good man. It'll definitely change the dynamic, but it's not going to change our strategy. I mean, we got to meet people where they're at and talk to them and meet as many people as I can and raise as much money as I can. That doesn't change.
How's the money going? Are you raising the money needed?
It's good, but it's slow. I mean, people are waiting to see what's going to happen. But now that we're past Labor Day, we're stacking up some events, some fundraisers, and I'm excited.
Are you going to need a Trump endorsement to win the primary?
I think any Republican will. So I'm excited to earn the president's endorsement. He got his start off in Manhattan developments by having an older guy at that time give him a shot. And that's exactly the type of thing I'm going to ask him for, is just give me that same chance you had, and we're going to take back Wisconsin. You'll have a partner in the governor's mansion.
Have you talked with him yet, or anyone on his team?
We've been in the West Wing. I have not talked to him personally, but they're very, very focused on the House. I think Tom was pretty clear about that. I think he was pretty clear with Tom about that, it sounds like. And they were clear with us about that.
Would you promise anything or guarantee anything to the president in return for his endorsement?
I've never even thought of it, so I'd say no.
David Crowley just entered the race, the Milwaukee County Executive on the Democratic side. That's expected to be a large field as well. There's been a lot of talk about National Guard troops in recent days. Democrats have said absolutely not. You are open to the idea of rather it be requesting or welcoming troops to Milwaukee?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the mayor and the county executive have done a horrendous job on crime in Milwaukee. Nobody denies it. It's embarrassing that I mean, they're our neighbors in Washington County. And I've been vocally frustrated with how they've operated. When I'm governor, we're going to give them all the resources they need for law enforcement, just like as I've done as Washington County executive. I've got law enforcement's back 1,000%. I will when I'm governor. And if it requires me to, I will call the president myself personally and ask for National Guard troops if the mayor and the county executive don't cooperate.
In theory, at least as it looks now, if you were governor, it could be a divided legislature, perhaps Democrats, the Senate, Republicans, the Assembly. Let's just take that example. How would you govern and how would you work with Democrats?
Well, when I'm governor, we're going to win both the Senate and the Assembly back. But in the event that we wouldn't when I win in January of 27, I'll tell you this, that budget process to me was a mile marker in poor leadership by Governor Evers.
How about Republicans?
Well, the fact that the governor didn't even have all of the legislative leaders, minority and majority, sitting at the table is embarrassing. I mean, it doesn't matter what party you are, you should have a seat at the table. We should be having conversations with one another. I think it's what's wrong with the state, with our country. When Greta Neubauer is minority leader in the Assembly, when I'm governor, she's going to have a seat at the table. We might disagree on 98% of things, but we're going to talk to each other.
Were Republicans wrong to make that deal with the governor?
Look, I'm not a legislator. I'm an executive. I set the budget and then the legislature acts. I will say this, the budget that they approved is less bad than the one the governor proposed.
All right, up next, the newest Democrat to enter the race, Milwaukee County Executive David Crowley is standing by.